person watching your anger is not separate from your anger. Think about it. We often say, I am angry, as though there are two things inside us, a separate I and a emotion called anger. But what if the suppression is an illusion? What if the observer and the observed are actually one? That is one of the most unsettling and liberating questions I want to ask. I am Goswami, psychologist and best-selling author. Let me ask one question that can completely change the way you see yourself. So stay tuned and let us learn. Imagine someone insulting you. Almost instantly, anger rises inside you. Then another voice appears. I shouldn't be angry. I must control myself. I need to calm down. Now, there seems to be two people inside you. One is angry and other is trying to control the anger. One question I want to ask you. Who is the one trying to control the anger? Controller really separate from the anger? Or the controller also made from your memories, experiences, conditioning, fears, expectations, and past? If both are created from the same psychological history, then perhaps the conflict between them is itself an illusion. And this becomes even more interesting when we look at the ego. The ego is extraordinarily clever. When it wants money, recognition, power, status, or success, we can often recognize it. But what happens when the ego becomes spiritual? It may begin saying, I am more aware than others. I understand life more deeply. I am more evolved. The ego has not disappeared. It has simply changed its clothing. The I that once wanted to become successful now wants to become spiritual superior. The struggle remains. Only the language has changed. We spend much of our lives trying to change what we experience internally. When fear appears, we want to get rid of it. When jealousy appears, we want to suppress it. When anger appears, we want to control it. When sadness appears, we want to escape from it. But what if, for a moment, we did none of those things? What if we simply observed without judging, without suppressing, without trying to change what we see? This is the essence of choiceless awareness. If anger rises, simply observe it. Where did it come from? What memory is feeding it? What expectations has been violated? What fear lies underneath it? And then comes the deepest question. Who is observing all this? Perhaps one of the deepest secrets of transformation is that we do not always need to force ourselves to change. We need to see clearly. When a lamp is switched on in a dark room, we don't have to fight the darkness. We don't push it away. We don't discipline it. We don't negotiate with it. The light simply reveals what is there. Perhaps the same thing happens within the mind. When we completely see fear, anger, jealousy, insecurity, and ego, not intellectually, but directly, understanding itself begin to transform us. And maybe peace is not something we have to achieve. Maybe peace appears when we stop creating the inner conflict that prevents us from seeing clearly. The next time anger arises, don't immediately suppress it and don't immediately justify it either. Pause it, watch it, feel what is happening in your body. Listen to the thoughts moving through your mind. Notice the memories and judgments appearing, and then ask yourself one simple question. Who is the observer? Don't push to find an answer. Perhaps the answer cannot be found in words. Perhaps it can only be discovered through direct observation. And perhaps in that moment, when the boundary between the observer and the observed begins to disappear, something extraordinary happens. The struggle becomes quieter, the mind becomes still, and you begin to see that perhaps the person you have spent your entire life trying to understand is not someone separate from what you are observing. Remember, my friends, the ego does not always disappear. Sometimes it simply becomes spiritual. What if the one watching your anger is not separate from your anger? Transformation begins not when you force yourself to change, but when you truly see. Peace may not be something you achieve, it may appear when inner conflict ends. And lastly, the deepest question is not how do I change, but who is the one trying to change. Thank you very much. Have a great day.